Look, pull in the spot, ooh, watch how I drop, believe it or not, this isn't all that I got, they told me to rock, that's not how I rock, now I gotta pop Madonna.
So let's talk about your real estate journey. So you took my class, it's been about 18 months right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's tell people like the whole story, how you started. You were just an agent, just kind of cruising along, right?
Yeah, so I'd been an agent for 6-7 years at that point. I was doing pretty decent. I was making $200,000 a year, $250,000 a year, and I've done a couple flips and kind of been involved in that. And then I saw your opportunity for your class, and just kind of wanted to dive a little bit more into the investment side of stuff and just see what I was missing.
Right.
So it was good.
So do you feel like you're just kind of like you took the 90 hours like everybody else does? Did the brokerage give you any kind of training or?
No, and I would say that typically most brokerages aren't very investor friendly, right? Because they want a piece of the pie.
Yeah, we're the bad guys.
Exactly. So to be honest with you, hopefully they don't see this, but I don't tell them about that stuff at all. If I do off-market stuff, I don't go through the brokerage at all because there's no reason to. I'm the principal in the deal, right?
Yeah, you're principal, so you're allowed to do what you want.
Exactly. So I just, better to ask for forgiveness and permission on some of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was just cruising along doing the normal, purchase and sales, and was kind of just limited to that. But it excited me to get more into the investment side of stuff.
All right, so when we started, we just started getting your marketing channels grown, and we were just cold calling, but
yeah.
you've expanded your marketing channel since then, right?
Yeah. So just recently, actually, within the last couple of months, I'm doing Facebook ads.
Okay, cool.
And I'm seeing really good return on it. I mean, I've already locked up 4 deals just in the last 40 days. So, and they're all wholesale. So,
okay.
So I'm getting that dialed in, and then I'm kind of revamping a little bit of my cold calling. That's just a little bit more specific to me.
Okay.
And the structure within my business. And once I think I even those two out, I think I'll be pretty optimal on my returns.
That's awesome. So we started as cold calling, and I taught a wholesale class, but I also, part of the teaching is like, hey, don't leave a lead behind. Let's monetize leads.
Yeah.
And you're trying to like scoot some out of the way currently, but at first you just need to make deals, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I did my best to optimize all of my leads at that time. So I didn't say no to anything. So I got quite a bit of listings in the first 6 months. Over that first 12 months, I think I picked up close to 17, 18 listings, which is good extra money. I mean, that's an extra $250,000. But then I was also picking up, a few wholesale deals here and there, and then I picked up a couple big flips that will net me a pretty good amount of money. But like now, I think I'm more focused in on what I really want to specialize in, and I'm seeing a better return and a better use of my time, I think.
And what is that?
Purely just on wholesales, and if I get a good flip, like I have a certain number that I will take it on at, I won't take anything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll wholesale it.
So yeah, you took some listings, and then you took 2 big heavy rehabs on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they were big ones. The first one, it was just a really old house with a basement, and it just turned into a nightmare. I mean, I still made, I think, like $110,000 on that one. I ran into so much red tape with the city and permitting and all that stuff, which was a great learning experience for me. And I'm still lucky enough to net, 6 figures on a deal.
Right.
The second one, I'm actually in escrow on it right now. That one, I mean, we went down to the studs. I mean, I took the lid off the house.
Right.
New trusses, everything. And it was about $125,000 remodel. But on that one, I'm going to net close to about $180,000, $190,000 on that one.
Yeah. So you've done 2 fix and flips north of $100,000, which most people don't do. So you've done well now, but now figuring out the wholesale deal, the creative finance deal, some possible novations.
Right.
What do you think about those versus fix and flips?
Luckily, where I'm doing my business, my spreads are much larger, I think, than what averages down here in the Phoenix area.
Right.
Just for example, like just a couple days ago, I got a wholesale deal that was subject to And initially when I was going to wholesale it, I was going to make probably about $50,000 on it. But since I was able to convince the seller to do subject to, I'm able to clear about $75,000 on that one.
Right. What interest rate did the seller give you?
2.8.
Yeah. Where are you going to get a 2.8 again,
Yeah.
right?
So then I have another one that I'm going to be closing on in a week, another subject to, I'm going to make $20,000 on that one. So in less than 30 days, I'm making about as much as I did on my one flip that took me 6 months.
Yeah. So it's just time versus money, right? Would you rather, if you had all the time you spent in that flip, what do you think you really could have made?
$500,000.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's the beauty of this, especially in learning and really getting my feet wet, is I think I had to go through those to really get like, wow, my time is worth a hell of a lot more money.
yeah.
And I could have done 10, 12, 15 more deals during that time and really focus on that and clear quite a bit more money. But like I said, it's all about perspective, and I think going through those flips was a great learning experience for me. And now I know where my threshold is on flips.
Yeah, you're not going to touch a flip unless it's $100,000, right?
Unless I'm making about $150,000, I'm not touching a flip, which there are opportunities very often for that, right? So luckily up in the Northwest where I do my business, there's pretty large spreads.
Where's the threshold of, okay, I want to do a flip, but I can wholesale it for X? What's the number? Like, you could probably wholesale it for 50, 60?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just how I'm feeling that day. I mean, really, if I'm able to clear, $50,000 on a wholesale deal, I'm going to wholesale it.
Yeah.
It's just, how can you say no to $50,000 like that?
Yeah. For all the other guys out there watching, you're taking MLS deals, which you're I heard some noise that you might back off on those,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I would say so.
But you're doing creative deals. You're doing novations.
I'm not doing novations
Okay,
yet. I think if I get to the point to where I let go of my license, I think then I'll start doing novations. But I think it gets a little hairy having a license up in the Northwest, at least.
Okay.
Doing novation. So I think once I decide to let my license go, I think I'll go down that route.
Okay. So, but you could also just lock it up
Yeah.
and have somebody else list it for you.
I could, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the plan of where I see myself eventually.
And then, so wholesale deals, creative deals, possibly some novations in the future. Fix and flips only if you're going to crush it.
If I crush it, yeah.
But you're still very dynamic on your strategy. You don't go talk to your sellers unless you got all the different tools.
Yeah, and I was in Portland last week where I do some of my business, and I literally went into the seller's house and I'm like, look, I'm giving you every option there is to offload your property. These are the options. This one's going to get you this much money, this one's going to get you this much money, and this one's going to get you this much money. Which would you like?
Yeah. Now, have you done any seller carries or anything?
No,
I've
been in negotiations with a couple people on some, but it hasn't panned out to where they want to go that route. But I definitely foresee that happening in the near future for sure.
And that's a way to, like, if that seller wants to maximize their dollar, you still have that option to bring up the seller carry.
Exactly.
With some low interest rates, because you just said on a subject to deal, you were able to get way more money because of the 2.8%.
An extra $25,000.
An extra $25,000 because you could lock in a low interest rate.
Exactly.
So if a seller is willing to not budge on the price, he kind of wants to stay up on that top price. You have an option to say, would you be willing to carry?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that conversation has come up a lot lately. Especially with everybody's low interest rates, right? I can just say, hey, this is what I'm willing to do. I'll give you X amount of money with this rate. What do you think? And it entices a lot of people. They think about it for a little while, and it's just where they're at financially to see if they say yes or no.
Well, you can talk to your CPA. I know this is a little trick, but just kind of like another tool that you could use. And, someone bought a house for $100 and they sold it for $500. They're going to have a $400,000 profit. They could, that's going to trigger getting, $100,000 to the IRS or $120,000 to the IRS. So there's a number out there. I'm not a CPA. Ask your CPA, but maybe they sell it on terms and they're allowed to get up to like $45,000, I think, on terms. So that's almost call it $3,500 a month where they can take that as income,
Right.
and it doesn't trigger a sale. So talk to your local CPA, because I know that's out there, and it might be like presenting that to them and just say, hey, talk to your CPA about this, but you're going to get 400 grand where you're going to pay 120, but if you just take it over time, you have no tax
Way less
implication.
hit. Yeah. Makes sense.
So just another tool to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So since taking my class 18 months ago, what do you think is it a 6-figure number or is it a 7-figure? That's the big question. Is it a 6-figure number or is it a 7-figure number?
Moving forward, like for the year,
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I think now that I'm getting honed in on really what I want to do, I don't see a reason why it's going to be 7 figures within the next year, 2 years, easily.
You were already doing, like you said, a couple $100,000 a year, and now you're expanding that growth, and you see yourself doing 5 times that in the future.
Yeah, I think definitely there is the opportunity, like I said, with the big spreads up there, to do $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million. It's just finding that sweet spot and really maximizing. I don't see why not.
Yeah, it's because it's. So let's talk about all your different marketing channels. Your cold calling. You put in a little door knocking system last time we talked. Is that still
Yeah,
good?
so I have one person that's literally just driving for dollars right now, and they've made a nice little chunk of money.
Yeah.
So we're doing the driving, we're doing cold calling, and we're doing Facebook ads now too. So, I'm getting a solid 60 solid leads, I would say, a month.
Yeah. So how does your acquisition team like the outbound versus the inbound? Like,
I think the inbound is so much easier
it's an easier sell.
because they are calling us to get rid of their home, right? And we are going to give them a solution.
Yeah.
Whereas for the outbound, right, it's just
follow
up.
Yeah.
And now I have a good CRM system in place that's helping with that a lot. And it's just touch points, right? And it just is over and over and over again.
Have you done the cost per lead on the inbound versus the outbound and compared those?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I would say recently, over the last 2 to 3 months, the inbound is definitely far superior than the outbound.
Right.
I can definitely say that for sure.
But what's your cost? Is it a 2x cost? Is it a 3x cost? Anything like that? Or?
I would say for the cold calling, it's probably, for the amount of money that I'm putting out for cold calling and all that stuff, it's at least a good 6, 7x on what I'm getting back. And then on the Facebook, on the inbound calls, it's probably 10x on what I'm putting in.
Oh wow!
So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, just one deal for this month is going to be 12x on one deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
And what's that? What do you think you're going to make on that deal? Is that the 75?
About 75,000.
Yeah.
On the wholesale deal. Yeah. It's a nice return.
That's a good one.
Yeah.